Hello, my lovely people of the internet. What a week we had. The one time I'm gone, we get a bunch of Pokémon Champions news, don't we? Most importantly, the release date. Also finally some abilities of the Megas. Kind of funny how I was half right about Mega Meganium, but that's neither here nor there now. What I want to talk about is that we finally have a release date, which is April 8th, which is honestly a lot closer than a lot of people thought it would be. And it was also the demo at PAX East. But what I find very, very interesting is what wasn't an official announcement. Namely, today we got an update to this. The official Play Pokemon Video Game Championships Tournament Handbook. And there is two things that I wanted to talk about at least a little bit. Because they more or less dropped some news without really dropping news, which I find rather interesting. So, what we basically know is that regulation sets in Champions are going to be once more the regulation format. The one thing that is really setting off my alarm bells is the between 1 and 3 months thing. This part right here. Because I also want to, perhaps I'm going to rant a little bit about this, but I am sick and tired of short formats. If it were up to me and if we insist on keeping those regulations up, I would love to have like 6 months long format. 2 formats per year, 6 months, enough time to actually develop something. But this scares me for the future because I really do hope that we don't burn through the regulations too fast. And that we don't have repeats of 2023 where a new format debuts at Worlds. But perhaps the less interesting part is that one, because there was one feature that was not really mentioned at so far. And that was the topic of rental teams. So, as updated in the eligible game devices section, competitors may be asked by a judge or the tournament organizer to register the battle teams as rental teams in Scarlet Violet or share their battle teams via the replica teams feature in Pokémon Champions and provide their team IDs. And as far as I'm aware, and I like to believe I've paid a lot of attention to this, there's been no mention of any replica teams feature, like neither in the hands-on previews that have been given out to certain content creators where they got an hour early or during the PAX East demo. And to be quite honest with you, I genuinely thought that rental teams were going to be a thing of the past just by the free-to-play nature of Pokemon Champions trying to make a whole lot of money. The monetization is a different topic that I don't want to get into now, but this basically confirming that rental teams are going to be back in a different form, hopefully, is actually huge, because my main topic ever since talking about Champions has been the accessibility, which why I'm very happy that it's a free-to-play game, even with the baggage that comes with it. Why I think it's fantastic that we're going to get a mobile release eventually. And one of the biggest things that helped make Pokemon more accessible was the rental teams and how easy they were to access since Pokemon Sword and Shield. And that was something that I was actually worried about. Because team building's hard. Team building is genuinely very difficult, and I always recommend new players not to actually do it. Like, building your own team at the start when you don't really know the game isn't that great. So that is something that gives me a bit ease of mind. Having rental teams in Champions is going to be huge. And if you aren't going to be tied by what's available to you and just let the game replicate it for you without any severe costs to the VP, I think that is another step in the right direction, because that is quite important for the onboarding process. And as I said, accessibility is like the most important part, because as we've seen with the big interest in grassroots tournaments already, making it as easy as possible for people to start is quite important. And this was just me really wanting to highlight that, because it's mental to me that the release is so close, and the first time something as important as like a rental team feature gets mentioned in a rulebook update is, it's a little insane to me. But yeah, no, I just wanted to mention it a little bit. Thought it was worth it. And hopefully I'll see you all in the future for the next video. But until then, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and bye-bye.